Hello and welcome to my Bindar Africa TV. This is whereby I look at all issues African. So for now, I like to look at how do you think how can African create blockbuster companies? That is, how can Africa create blockbuster companies? So you have everywhere else. You have Africa. Yes, we have talented Africans. I believe they are talented Africans. The ones that can create the likes of Google, the likes of YouTube, the likes of Facebook. I believe there are Africans that can create this, but why have we not seen an African blockbuster tech company? And I think maybe we have to see why did Silicon Valley succeed? Silicon Valley succeeded because of a confluence of talent. First of all, talent. Then you had venture capital. Talent meeting venture capital, and of course markets and infrastructure. So I think in Africa right now, we should increase venture capital funding in Africa. I think in 2021, there were venture deals of about $625 billion, so which Africa got only about $5 billion. So that's just 1%. So we need more venture capital pouring into Africa. And I think you have success stories such as the one of Flutterwave. And I think we need more African startups to be able to scale so that they can be billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar companies. And I think when we have these blockbuster companies, I think if we scale up these blockbuster companies, then basically Africa will be in a good place. I think right now we need to pivot along econo intellectual ways. I believe, yes, the economy of them, resource-based economy of maybe gold, copper, titanium, gold, copper, titanium, diamonds, farming. Yes, it is good an economy, but I think we need to pivot along an econo-intellectual kind of wealth. Econo-intellectual is simply a wealth that is based on ideas, and I think this is wealth that is going to uplift Africa up. I think this econo-intellectual wealth is what is going to uplift Africa, and I think we need to be able to we need to be able to have this kind of economy. And I think if you have economic intellectual wealth, then Africa will be able to lift millions out of poverty. I think right now Africa is an entrepreneur's paradise. Everyone thinks Africa is a write-off, but I think the myriad of challenges that Africa faces a myriad of challenges, and I think if we solve this myriad of challenges, if they are turned around, they could be an entrepreneur's paradise. So in every problem that Africa faces, that is a case for a business opportunity. That is, in every problem that Africa faces, that is a case for a business opportunity. And I think that is why we need to be able to look at maybe how can we turn around the problems that Africa faces to be a venture capital opportunity. And I think if we do that, then Africa is going to emerge stronger. Then we will be able to have a talent meeting venture capital. And I think right now, if you need to be of the caliber of Harvard or Stanford African graduate in order to be able to access this venture deals. And I think that is something that is a bit of a drawback. I think we need run-of-the-mill Africans in your everyday African being able to access this startup funds. And I think Rwanda is trying. Basically, they have created a startup law where basically if you want to start a business, then you can forfeit employment. If you are out of college, you can forfeit employment. Let's say for 1 or 2 years, you will be getting a full salary as you work on your startup. So that is the Startup Act, and I think a lot of countries, I think also Italy passed it, and I think a lot of African countries need to pass this act so that you can have African countries being able to so that you can have African countries being able to basically pass this startup act so that they can then someone with a brilliant idea doesn't have to look for employment, because remember, many African university students brilliant university students come from a very downtrodden background. So when they are pursuing the idea, then there is no funding, so they opt to seek employment in a six-figure, in a multinational, in a blue chip company where they will be assured of a comfortable standard of living. So when we pass the startup act, then they could be able to forfeit employment maybe for 1 or 2 years as they get their full salaries. And I think in this way, then you can have. I think in this way, then you can have an Africa where basically those who are talented don't have to forfeit the ideas. And I think when when talent, African talent that abounds in so much measure, when African talent meets venture capital and governments create the right infrastructure and markets, I think, are freely available, the myriad of challenges that Africa faces, then I think you could have many more flutterways, many more unicorns. Unicorn is basically $1 billion, a company that has achieved, a startup that has achieved $1 billion valuation. And I think if we do that, then basically we will have more African startups, more African companies will be able to become unicorns. And I think this sector, we need more blockbuster companies in Africa so that they can create a clean, decent, rewarding jobs by the millions. So that we need to create jobs by the millions. That's how we are going to eradicate poverty in Africa. And I think in that case, then Africa is going to solve its deepest challenges, and I think that is how Africa is going to be come the next frontier. I frankly believe that the 21st century, far from being the Asian century, can also be the African century. So that is my Binda TV for now. Goodbye for now till the next episode. Goodbye for now.